VAR for game number 1.
Now, with all that movement speed that they're going to get from the Hattoris, we are actually on a small stage, so I don't know if that's going to serve them as much here, since Gabriel and Pajé can both rotate from one side to the other of the stage pretty quickly, given that we're on Apocalypse and it's so small.
Yeah, the horizontal move speed probably going to be marginal at this point, but you still have kind of the weapon sets, which is also one of the things that Hattori brings into twos. That consistent setup tool, plus like Sword Spear, lots of very established team combos that they can learn from.
Now, despite being a little bit of the underdogs, Monexo and Hyper are going to grab the first stock here. Might also grab the second stock here. He's charging that one up. The clash there is going to send him down. Hyper is going to grab the down air to clean that one up. And Monexo and Hyper are looking very good here.
Things looking solid for this red team. Meanwhile, Pajé is still on that Rayman with the gauntlets in hand. Haven't seen a lot come out from this Rayman. We've seen a lot of Raymans come out and immediately pop off. Not seeing that much from Pajé yet.
Couple signatures now coming out from Gabriel. You saw the neutral sig there. You saw the side sig earlier to punish, I believe, the down signature on Monexo. Can't remember if it was Monexo or Hyper, but even that side signature he got earlier was only a punish in orange, so it didn't lead to a KO. You did see the down signature there. Pajé is able to get the KO. See if they can finish up Hyper here. The neutral are going to send him down. You see the sweat beads coming out, meaning he has very limited in-air options. That nair was enough to finish him off, send him down below. Oh, nice side heavy from Hyper to expect Pajé moving over to the right side. Kind of rode him along the way there. Got the KO with that.
Yeah, red team just maintaining this lead. Gabriel, deep red, could easily see him get knocked out. And the fact that their stocks are so desynced right now means there's going to be a power play onto Pajé, but Pajé's doing a good job playing this corner, making sure he doesn't get stacked up in between the double swords of the red team.
He's swinging his axe as best as he can, but the damage difference between those two, Monexo and Hyper, are just finding hit after hit. It's not huge swings in a very short period of time, but it is like 1 or 2 hits consistently over time. So it's definitely going in their favor. They probably will not lose their second stocks here. That's going to send Monexo, I believe, into the red.
Nice.
The neutral sig's going to take out Pajé.
Going
to get the double D-Light and the recovery to take that one out, and in fact, they did not lose their second stocks.
Really smart coming out from Monexo and Hyper on that double downlight into the recovery. They knew, A, it's teams. You do less damage and force your teammate. B, you're less damage than the opponent. C, we have the stock advantage. There's no reason not to go for the double, go for the knockout, and just close out game number 1. The underdogs looking good.
Now, Pajé and Gabriel are going to be swapping up their characters. Look at some of these replays that we're seeing towards the end. That's the end of the game. That took out Pajé, and Gabriel is not far behind him there. We are seeing this character swap coming through. Pajé on the Taros, Gabriel on the Brent, hoping those double axe characters are going to be able to cover so much territory, have the force of the axe, but also the force of the Taros from Pajé. We're going on a flat map, but we're going to trade some of those longer sides for really small sides, and we're throwing away that soft platform.
This is where you'll start to see that Hattori movement speed come into play, able to rotate from the left side to the right side much easier than something like the Pajé, who's coming in with this Taros base 5 movement speed.
He's been stuck on the right side of the stage for most of this game so far, going over on the wall. Hyper is going to get through almost. He's going to eat a ground pound. That might have been some of that movement speed helping him there to get away from that ground pound.
And then you also see that rotation over from Monexo helping out. Again, able to be in position to help out the teammate. That's one of the reasons why movement speed's so valuable in twos.
Oh, the weapon tosses for sure. You saw the neutral sig coming out, reaching up as high as he could. Wow, that is a full team wipe for Gabriel and Pajé. That's going to put them in a really good spot.
Yeah, the swaps over to the Taros and Bryn looking real nice. Here comes the team combo. The spot dodge to avoid the weapon toss means Gabriel is going to get out of the combo.
Now we are getting some words from production. It is Pajé, so forgive us for that. We are Southern speakers here who are used to speaking English, so sorry South American community for that. Please do not crucify us for that. We will correct it going forward.
All right, Pajé coming in, still on the Taros, in the red. Oh, the pickup coming out from Gabriel. Going to send Pajé off screen. No weapons in hand. He's in death percent. And yep, D-Light into the recovery. And lead to the knockout.
Lead now going in the favor of Monexo and Hyper. Pajé over on the right side. Hyper just completely getting past him, but Gabriel's going to send him back over to his teammate. Side signature was being charged up, but got interrupted. Nice little follow-up there.
Oh,
Oh, and gets the side sig. Almost finishing up this stock. You're seeing Gabriel recovering very high. Sider's actually going to be some team damage. It's going to split the red team up just a little bit, but Monexo's fine with that. He wants to finish off this stock of Gabriel. Meanwhile, on the left side, Pajé is going to hit the down air, finish off the stock of Hyper. We're basically even, but Pajé is a little bit behind.
Yeah, eyes are definitely on Pajé right now as the most damaged person on the screen in the final stock. Gabriel going to get taken out by the ground pound on the right side. They want to take out Monexo to at least get a brief power play opportunity, but Pajé is going to fall to the recovery of Hyper, and that means it is all Gabriel in the 1v2.
He's waiting for the weapon spawn to come in. Hyper's able to grab it immediately as it came in center stage. Just spending a lot of time off stage unarmed. That's going to continue.
Yo.
The neutral air is going to send him further to the right side. He hasn't touched the main stage in a minute. The weapon toss now going to send him to the left side. Another weapon toss coming in. More weapon tosses coming in. A lot of weapon spawns, and all of them are immediately taken away.
Yeah, this red team is doing a lot of weapon tossing. It can be a little bit goofy, but it's also leading to a lot of weapon control. There's no moment where Gabriel can even think about stealing a weapon spawn because the red team is so good at out-rotating and stealing it out.
And it's just constant interruptions of what Gabriel wants to do with his movements, with the attacks that he chooses to throw out. He has to worry about, okay, I'm going to go in for a D-Light Sair. Oh, I did the D-Light. All of a sudden, I got hit by a weapon toss. I want to dash into a neutral air. Here's my dash. Oh, no, I got hit by a weapon toss. All of my timings are thrown off.
Yeah, and now things are looking real rough for this team of Pajé and Gabrielwe as they are on tournament point to get knocked out. Monexo and Hyper, the underdogs, the lower seeds, could get the upset and continue on to fight News and Nagi.
Now, Pajé did find 2 KOs. That game he's going to match Gabriel in terms of KO power, but a lot of the damage that the blue team did was on Gabriel's shoulders. Pajé only did around 200 plus damage. Didn't even make it past 300, and on a Teros, you have to be doing that big damage. Your character is built around doing a lot of big damage and finding a lot of KOs.
Yeah, when you have an extreme stat, if you are not utilizing it, then you are not utilizing that character. And Teros coming in as a base 8 strength means that you are expected to get that high damage put out. But now we're going into game number 3, and Pajé and Gabrielwe are going to be going in with the double Bryn comp to go up against the double Hattori.
Now, we have seen more Barbara skin choices from South America today than I think any other region currently in Brawlhalla. This will give them maybe a little better chance to see themselves differently from one another. If you pick like Metadev Bryn and Default Bryn, you might lose yourself in the mix of everything. That chaos. Pajé, oh my gosh, throwing out so many axe moves. I think he found 3 unanswered moves from the red team. Now has Monexo in the orange. Nice floating there to get above Monexo. Hit the down air. Gabriel following up. Oh, that weapon toss is actually not going to help the red team now. Send him to the side. The side air for Gabriel to clean that one up. Hyper is in the orange here. He's throwing out a couple of moves. Some team damage coming in for Pajé.
This is the best Pajé's axe has looked so far, but just like that, the red team going to shove both blue team members off stage. Pajé barely touching the wall here. Stock count and health count basically even as Pajé goes for the unarmed Gimp and is going to get punished for it.
That was a little bit reckless coming in from Pajé. You saw him attacking a basically white opponent when he was at the weapon disadvantage and Pajé was in the red. That was so dangerous for him to do. You saw all it took was 1 hit, combo, and now all of a sudden they have the 2v1 team combo potential. Maybe put only about 45 damage out there, so it wasn't huge, but it's still good damage, and we are seeing a discrepancy between Monexo and Hyper, whereas Gabriel and Pajé are kind of equal in terms of damage that they've taken.
Yeah, it's always nice to get that quick team damage. Of course, you want it to lead to a knockout. You want to see that extension. It's just unfortunate that they didn't quite have it ready. They ended up locking up on each other.
A lot of Bryn down signatures coming out. Now Gabriel has the axe down signature this time, but it is on the axe instead of the spear. D-Light Sair from Monexo. The weapon toss goes out. The harpoon is going to take out Gabriel. Pajé hoping that he can find at least 1 stock here. Neutral Sig comes out, doesn't find a connection. Blue team desperately wants to get these stocks from the red team. Oh, he pulls out of that one because his teammate was red.
Yeah, that was a little risky there. He knows his team is behind, didn't want to risk accidentally knocking out his teammate. He needs to trade this out. Pajé's in trouble. He does get the wall touch. Gabriel's backing away. His teammate is in a dangerous spot, and he's like, I'm going to worry about Monexo.
Yeah, his counter pressure onto Hyper was a little bit weak there. Could have put his teammate in a very dangerous situation, especially because Hyper was super red, so it wouldn't have taken much to just completely separate Hyper from Pajé, giving Pajé the option to get back and maybe even taking the stock from Hyper as well.
Yeah, at least maybe fight for the trade I would have loved to see, but instead he was worried about the Monexo respawn. You know what? Like, technically speaking, that is their end game now. If they take out Monexo, they get the 2v1s onto Hyper, but they can't take too much damage for it. Oh, nice big hit coming out from Gabriel. Gonna even up this stock count.
Now we find that counter pressure coming through. They dropped the combo initially, found it in the second part. Unfortunately, that high ceiling here, a little bit of team damage coming out too, so they weren't able to find the KO. They want this on Monexo. They know he was so close to being taken out of this game. The recovery from that low is not going to send off the screen. D-Light recovery, not enough to take out, but the Nair chase will be the option. Nair was trending on Twitter earlier today. It's not because of this, but it's still kind of cool.
Neat. Monexo, though, is definitely surviving on this. Pajé with some fantastic unarmed is going to get the Gimp. Suddenly, it's a 1v1, both in the red. Monexo slightly more damage, but any heavy hit could lead to the knockout. Pajé barely touches the wall.
Pajé's likely going to be hunting for the side air. That down air is going to bounce
toss.
off, put him in the power position. Gravity cancel, neutral signature, not going to get him anywhere near the side. And Pajé, all of a sudden, after getting the edge guard on the right side, is going to close that one out.
It puts him on the board, and it's going to take him to a game number 4. The swap to the Bryn looking pretty good for this blue team.
Some thought being put into the stage banning sequence now. 3 maps left up: Shipwreck, Apocalypse, and Crystal Temple. We're not going back to Shipwreck, even though Pajé did win that one. It was his choice to then go on to, I believe it was Apocalypse, as the map choice for this game.
Yep, it's going to be Apocalypse for game number 4. And kind of like you said at the very beginning of this set, it means that that extra movement speed that the Hattoris bring is not going to be as valuable.
Keep in mind, Hyper and Monexo are up here. We are in game 4, but the score so far is 2-1 in favor of Hyper and Monexo. That is going to be a very early KO for Pajé and Gabriel. That was less than 20 seconds into the game. That's huge.
Really heads-up play coming out from Pajé. That downlight into the NSIG is not true, but if the opponents don't have the dodge or aren't expecting it, then they can get caught and they can get KO'd.
Monexo and Hyper, it seems like they're a little bit confused on whether they want to regroup, whether they want to split out. Nice D-Light side air. A little bit of a follow-up as well. Wasn't huge. Gabriel is now going to find the KO on that one as well. Solid lead here, Monexo. Oh, that side sig from Pajé put Monexo into the orange. So now a solid lead for Gabriel and Pajé.
Things looking nice for this blue team. The D-Light recovery, another one. Not quite enough damage put out onto Pajé, and Hyper can't chase. Pajé with those down airs, just trying to make sure that landing is a little bit safer.
And D-Light side air not being enough to kill Sword players crying out in pain, but especially Hattori players crying out in pain with that lower strength.
A relatively low strength character. Dig put out. Gonna get a soft punish there with the D-Light and a side light coming out from this red team. Just a little bit behind here, but if they can extend these stocks the way that they did at the tail end of the last one, could see this one go in the red team's way.
Now, even though Monexo was the one taking a lot of damage, he was the first one in orange. Oh, the D-Light recovery. Pajé does find the 1K. Oh, you see Gabriel chasing as high as he can. The neutral light. Hyper did not touch the ground, but maybe he did. It almost seemed like he didn't. He's able to get back. The recovery from Gabriel. Quick cleanup there. Pajé and Gabriel are running away with this one.
Gabriel is pretty damaged, though. Could end up becoming the target. Maybe the red team starts playing for those 2v1s. Starting to play a little bit more defensive. You see him sitting further back and let the teammate pick up the weapon. Okay. Oh, just going to go for the team combos on the teammate. Definitely not in favor of the red team on that one.
I think they were both like stuck in a spot of, okay, what do we do? I'm trying to run through the statistics of this in my head to think, is this a good trade option? Is this not? We're both picked up here. We both have Spear. I'm not sure what to do. Still heavily going to favor Gabriel and Pajé in this, who are looking like the possibility of the reverse 3 as game 1 and 2 went both Monexo and Hyper's way.
Yeah, this is definitely looking like it's going into the blue team's pocket, as there is not a lot of health left on Monexo, and could very easily see this go into game number 5, and then suddenly, yep, it's on the red team to make the adjustment to the double Brin.
Now we're seeing those big numbers come through from Pajé. 622 damage, 3 KOs. Gabriel with 3 KOs as well, 508 damage. On the other side, Monexo's going to have to step up either in the KO department or the damage done department. Even though he was the last one alive, he did 2 KOs, but only 270 damage compared to Hyper's 2 kills and 405 damage.
Okay. We are seeing the red team changing up their character picks a little bit, as Monexo is suddenly on a level 100 Koji that he's been keeping in the back pocket. Gonna see if Hyper has something that goes alongside it. On the other side, I doubt we'll see some swaps come out from the blue team. Technically speaking, the blue team should be locking in first and the red team gets the counter picks, but I don't think the red team cares. I think they're like, I got a level 100 Koji, I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, I think there's no reason to change off of the double Brin. You saw in the stats just now, you saw relatively high signature usage. I believe it was 9 and then 11 between the two players of the blue team. And even though their percentage of actually connecting with those signatures was small, we are seeing a lot of signatures being used as KO moves. So a signature that you hit when your opponent is in red is a lot more beneficial than one that you hit on a character that's in yellow. So they're finding these signatures as KO options, especially when you have an axe in your hand. You're not floating and hunting for those side airs. You're not hitting a side light hoping that you hit it in the right spot to where you can find the side air follow-up for that to be the KO. They're finding them at the right time in the right place. So even though their accuracy is low, they are still very important signatures.
Yeah, it's always nice when you can get a stock off with that signature. And of course, like you said, the axe, it doesn't have the same knockout tools that, say, like a sword or a hammer would. We can light side air, delight recovery, and you're good for the day. But here we go. Game number 5, Monexo and Hyper going to make the swaps over to the Koji Bodvar for game number 5.
And we are going to the Miami Dome here. We've had one soft platform present in several of the games so far. Now we're going to have 2. And we're going to have that post in the middle holding up this billboard for Ramen. So you cannot go under the stage here whatsoever. You can dip under just a little bit, but you're not going all the way to the other side.
And we've definitely seen some people dip under, avoiding weapon tosses and things like that. Pajé, in a very awkward spot, does get back up safely, even manages to avoid that Bodvar sword down signature, and actually trades out beneficially in damage. Hyper, more damage than anyone else.
You saw how far that dare sent Gabriel. A lot of damage being put on the stock. Now Pajé is putting out some damage on the Hyper, and the team damage from Monexo is going to turn Hyper red, which leads to the side air follow-up from Pajé to get the KO. Monexo going deep, and Gabriel actually completely backing away after Monexo went in with the sword ground pound.
Things looking nice for the blue team. Red team trying to get the stock. Side sig will go one way. Goes for the bounce into the side sig, but it's just going to be a recovery, and Monexo gets the double to take the lead.
I'm not sure whether he was going for the side signature as the option there, or maybe he was holding left to then follow up with the recovery, and he held the button
like
just
an
a little bit
accidental ledge cancel.
Yeah, that led to an accidental ledge cancel. I'm not sure there. We are basically all even. Now, Hyper was doing a lot of damage early on in the game, and now he's actually taking a lot of damage. First player in the orange on second stock. Might also be the first player in red. Again, going to take a neutral light here. Both members of the red are going to get caught in that. The recovery.
Grapple.
Pajé is just completely dipping away from that. You see how far to the right and high he's going to get away from Hyper's hammer.
Yeah, full on respect to that hammer, but off stage, and Gabriel's going to fall. Left side, Pajé able to dodge through the down air. Can he get past all of this? Hyper really wants those recoveries. The way he places edge guard is so interesting because it's basically only hammer recovery. He doesn't go for the ground bone, doesn't go for the weapon toss or the dare or the sair. It's just recovery. Pajé going to fall at the top to the recovery of Monexo, though.
He's doing like exactly what we saw Kyler Alice doing last night in the Australian 2v2s, where he just dips down below. It seems like it's almost telegraphed. Ooh, there's a nice side air. They're going to be able to get the full team wipe on Monexo. There is a weapon in Gabriel's hand. He doesn't choose to throw it. Are they going to get this second stock from Monexo? He's going to chase Pajé high. The recovery not enough from Gabriel. Monexo's going to dodge through the second one. D-Light, side air, that's going to be the KO.
But eyes are on Hyper. If Hyper falls, then it's going to leave Monexo in the 1v2, and we're going to see the 3 go the way of Pajé and Gabriel.
Some more team damage coming out. That will KO!
What? What?
Wow, they turned that one around
from?
so quickly. The GC down signature. He used several sword down signatures earlier, but now he used the hammer one in the perfect spot. There is like an unreal amount of force on that signature. It can be dangerous to use at certain points, which is why you don't see it very often. But man, does it have so much force on it.
That was insane. Monexo fell and then came back, and in like 2 seconds, everyone on the blue team was just obliterated. There you see in the slow-mo, Hyper with the D-Sig and the team combo immediately into the N-Sig of Monexo. What a quick knockout, and that means Monexo and Hyper, the underdogs, going to go up against News and Nagi.
Yeah, that's several really important things that all kind of came together quickly at the end of that game. One, it's for the recognition and, let's be real, the stones that it took to go with that.